Hello, welcome to HITC Sport, and I am the Irish guy, and rifling through the free transfer bin basket in late September is like trying to buy a Christmas tree on Christmas Eve, or trick-or-treating 3 weeks after Halloween. Sorry, if you knock on my door demanding Maltesers in November, you're getting punched in the face. But listen, I'm gonna try and pick one current free agent who every Premier League club should sign, but be warned, this is going to be a stretch. For many of these players, there's a reason why they're out of work. Good Christ, this feels like rifling through the lost and found box down your local swimming pool. I mean, does anyone really want the Harry Potter book? A half-eaten Twix and 3 lumps of hair? Trying to find a free agent worth signing these days. It must be like Elton John swiping through Grenier in Texas. You're not really gonna have much luck, buddy. Right, let's go. Arsenal Serge Aurier. Yeah. Suggesting Arsenal sign a Tottenham reject, a guy not deemed good enough by their most hated of rivals. This is like suggesting to Liam Gallagher that he eat the leftovers of a Chinese takeaway found in Brother Noel's bin. Let's be honest, there is a perception right now that Serge Aurier is a 28-year-old right back with the concentration of a fish. But I don't think Aurier is as bad as they say. I mean, let's not forget, he played over 80 times for PSG before being upgraded, but I'm sorry. Being replaced by the most successful footballer of all time, it's not exactly a stain on your CV. At Tottenham, sure, he was erratic at times, but I'm sorry. Let's not forget, he scored in a 6-1 win at Old Trafford last season. He's not exactly a complete walking sausage roll. If you rescued him from the perils of sitting in his London flat, being forced to watch loose women and eat porridge out of the sink every morning, just offer him a basic £50,000 a week wage to play second fiddle to the unproven Takehiro Tomiyasu, a former ball on a right back who has started well so far, but by Christmas could just look like a lost pig in a slaughterhouse. Aston Villa Giovanni Dos Santos. Giovanni Dos Santos was once upon a time the Mexican Ronaldinho. He's now 32, a washed up lump of meat who did nothing at Club America in Mexico, but he was a superstar for LA Galaxy. Then again, that's a club who idolized Landon Donovan, so it's not really that hard. I don't know, this is probably a waste of time. But on the off chance that he still has a bit of magic in his feet, maybe bring him back to play in the EFL Cup and FA Cup matches. If nothing else, then just use them to sell Villa shirts in the villages of Mexico. Brentford, Sebastian Giovinco. Okay, I realize this could be another disaster. Brentford are clearly a sensible, organised, well-run football club, and so signing Sebastian Giovinco, this is like robbing QPR's shopping list from 2012, right? Dragging in a past that big name of fat wages. But listen, for years, this Italy forward was apparently wasting his life in the MLS, right? This guy who spent nearly 20 years at Juventus, and so replacing Jermaine Defoe at FC Toronto, playing against Shepherd Pie defences. But lads, he's the club's all-time top goal scorer and just won the AFC Champions League in his first season with Al Hilal on some Saudi Arabian desert. He's 34 and way past his best, but it's a long season. Brentford have a wafer-thin squad. They will pick up injuries. So just in case Brian Mbemo snaps his ankle after Christmas, then a front line of Tony and the trickery of Giovinco, a guy who was in the Italy squad just 3 years ago, you could do a lot worse. He probably doesn't know who or what a Brentford is. Brighton, Clement, Grenier, lad. This seems too hipster for Graham Potter to pass on. This would be like him turning down the offer of a cashmere scarf or a martini made of horse milk. Clement Grenier is a former French international midfielder who, spent 10 years on Lyon's midfield as a ball-playing playmaker and was mostly linked with Arsene Wenger ball at the Emirates. I mean, to be fair, they paid £6 million for the guy just 6 weeks before paying £42 million for Mesut Ozil. To a stubborn negotiator like the Lyon president Jean-Michel Aulas, that was probably the equivalent of spitting in his mother's face. As a youngster, this guy was hailed as the next Zidane. Turns out he's just an injury-prone Samar Nasri with hamstrings made of wet spaghetti. But hey, he's only 30 years of age, just quit Rennes. He'd fit well into Potter ball, which sounds like a brand of Quidditch. He'd be a decent backup option to sit on Brighton's bench. Burnley, Andy Carroll. Okay, Burnley fans, don't you dare turn your nose up at this. Let's not pretend you're suddenly above the standard of Andy Carroll. In terms of club size and ambition, there's not much separating the likes of Brighton and Burnley. And for Brighton, I've just paired them with an elegant, classy, luxury player. And for Burnley, I've tipped you to dragging a 6'4" lump of meat. It's a bit unfair. It's like the firstborn child getting an Xbox for Christmas, while the middle child gets a jar of his granny's teeth. But I'm sorry, why isn't Sean Dyche sniffing around this guy? 2 years ago, you were dragging in a human head on a stick in Peter Crouch from Stoke, and he was nearly 40. Carroll is just 32. Yes, nowadays he's about as dangerous in front of goal as a bunch of dead flowers. But who cares? Stick him up front for the final 10 minutes, cause mayhem in the box, fling in a few elbows, win a few headers. I mean, it's a local move. Burnley is only a 2-hour drive from Newcastle, and he's an unfashionable, strong British bulldozer who probably sweats through his mouth and mostly stinks of armpit sweat. But that's Sean Dyche's fantasy. Chelsea, Solomon Kalou. There is not a single unemployed footballer who would even get a sniff of making the Chelsea matchday squad. So no, I'm not gonna sit here and list all the make-believe reasons why Chelsea should sign someone like Wilfred Boney. No, Chelsea don't need anyone. So let's just say Solomon Kalou, not for footballing ability, just for vibes. Next! Crystal Palace Paulinho. I mean, why not? Come on, why not? I don't know what condition a 33-year-old Paulinho is in. Look guys, he only lasted 4 games to Al Ahly in the Saudi Arabian League before ripping up his contract on Friday. But 3 years ago, he was playing nearly 50 times on Barcelona's midfield as they won La Liga. Unless he spent the last few years guzzling hamburgers for breakfast, sleeping 3 hours a day and drinking Pepsi up his nose, I have to assume he is at least a fraction of the player he was. Look guys, he's got over 50 caps for Brazil. The lure of a return to London and the chance to work under a midfield legend like Patrick Vieira. I think we all know Will Hughes is going to flop like a wet pancake at Sellers Park, just resembling an unfit Ron Weasley in midfield, so Paulinho, he'd be a decent replacement on a short-term deal, right? Everton, Andreas Samaris. Okay, yeah, this isn't a fashionable signing, but I'm sorry. Asmir Begovic, Solomon Rondon, Andros Townsend on a free. Everton are a club with money, so this is like Bill Gates choosing to give his own children bottles of his own snot for Christmas. I'm surprised Benitez hasn't made a move for Greek midfielder Andreas Samaris. Yes, he's 32 and injury riddled, but I'm sorry, he was demanding that Newcastle buy him from Benfica for £18 million for 5 transfer windows on the bounce. He was obsessed. Every single window he was drooling over the Greek like he was a KFC family bucket. The guy's played nearly 200 times for Benfica and winning 4 league titles. He's a decent defensive midfield option, so you know, come on Rafa, you spent 3 years acting like you wanted to lick his eyeballs and kiss him goodnight before bed. Don't start playing hard to get now. Leeds, Diego Perotti. Okay, again, Diego Perotti could now be about as useful as a jar of strawberry jam. He's an unemployed father of 3 with a tattoo on his neck. Thank Christ he's a footballer, because otherwise his kids would probably have to spend the next 2 years eating their own toenails and chunks of hair for dinner. You really think you're getting a job in the post office looking like a BTEC dappy? Listen, he just left Fenerbahce after an injury-hit season. 3 goals, yes, but just 4 appearances. I mean, don't get me wrong, a few years ago, Perotti playing in the same team as Mesut Ozil would be utterly mouth-watering. But again, it'd be a bit like nowadays if Tinchy Strider brought out an album with JLS or Tiny Tempa. It would have been a smash hit 10 years ago, but nowadays nobody really cares. Here's the facts though. This is a guy who's played in the same Argentina team as Messi. He's a guy who scored 32 times and chipped in with 16 assists from the wing in 5 years at Roma. He seems like a player tailor-made for Marcelo Bielsa, so why not? Just stick him on the bench to back up Rafinha. Leicester, Robbie, Brady. Okay, initially I tipped Leicester to sign Kwon Sung Han, the North Korean Ronaldo who Liverpool tried to sign, only to find out he'd never heard of Stevie G. Yeah, they probably don't get Sky Sports in Pyongyang. It's probably just a 24-hour coverage of the president brushing his teeth. I'm gonna go with a wild card here. Robbie Brady. Come on, he's 29. He's one of the best Irish players. Give him a job. Come on, you're in the Europa League. You need all the players you can have. And considering 4 years ago you broke his knee, this is the least you can do. Please don't have Robbie Brady spending this Christmas serving pancakes and M&S. Liverpool, Antonio Mirante. Okay, I told you this was slim pickings, alright? Liverpool don't need any of these free transfer ham sandwiches anywhere near their first team squad. But if I had to pick one, why not 38-year-old goalkeeper Antonio Mirante? I mean, this guy used to keep goal for Juventus in Serie B and mostly carved out a career as the #1 goalkeeper in Serie A for Parma and Bologna, and even last season played 15 times for Roma. For Liverpool, having an erratic pizza brain like Adrian as your immediate backup to Alisson Becker in goal, a bit like living beside a volcano which might erupt any second. It's like agreeing to share a bed with your Aunt Margaret who has problems with her explosive bowels. It's like agreeing to share a 2-bed flat with Ted Bundy. You're gonna be frozen with fear. Allow Queen Keller to get game time out on loan in the Championship, maybe someone like Derby County, and bring in an experienced veteran like Mirante to sit on the bench. I mean, he used to play second fiddle to Alisson at Roma too, so he doesn't mind the job description. This just makes sense. Man City, Fernando Llorente. Okay, Man City are gonna turn their nose up at this. I just know they are. They're suggesting a club with resources of them to bring in Fernando Llorente on a free after letting Sergio Aurier go. It's embarrassing, yes. But lads, let's not forget, his backside knocked you out of the Champions League. Show him some respect. He's currently out of contract at Udinese. They offered his services to Inter Milan. They said no. Listen, he's 36, yes, but he's an aerial threat and he's proven it in the Premier League. Listen, City lack a presence in the box. I can see Pep Guardiola chucking him on for the final 10 minutes of a Champions League semi-final. And use him the same way that PSG and Bayern Munich used Eric Choupo-Moting. Just instruct him to make a nuisance of himself in the box, create space for others, win a few headers. Is it that crazy? Probably is, yeah. Man United, Dani Alves. What? Don't give me that look! Ole Gunnar Solskjaer just spent this summer sniffing around a former Burnley right back. And here I am suggesting you adopt the most decorated footballer of all time. A guy with 43 winners' medals in his locker. After Cafu, he's probably the greatest right back of all time. Don't act like I'm suggesting you pick Ollie Murs up front. I know he's 38, but who cares? Man United are building a dressing room of winners. This guy who's won the Champions League 3 times. He has addicted to trophies. He even won the Olympic gold as recently as 6 weeks ago. The man is nearly 40 and he's still playing for Brazil. This is a guy who's rejected Liverpool in the past and admitted he didn't even know Man City were until he was 27. Is that not enough to make him an Old Trafford cult hero? Yes, he's old and would only play the cup games. But can you imagine the mentality switch? A few years ago it was Mario Fellaini and Chicharito. Now in the dressing room, Ronaldo and Dani Alves. That's winning the league, isn't it? Newcastle, Sergio, Romero. Newcastle have a goalkeeping crisis. All of their goalkeepers are error prone. All of them. And Romero is a guy who only made 7 Premier League appearances in 6 years at Man United. I mean, that sounds horrible. And the guy hasn't been first choice goalkeeper at any club since Sampdoria in 2013. But he's got 96 caps for Argentina. He's played for his country more times than Diego Maradona. Clearly, if he did have wrists made of toast, someone would have discovered it by now. He also kept 39 clean sheets for Man United, so that's not bad at all. Give him the #1 gloves at Newcastle. Yeah, it's a risk. He could be a rusty shoebox. But I'm sorry, I would rather an Olympic gold winning goalkeeper, a guy who's played in a World Cup final, before he'd be picking a Love Island wannabe like Carl Darlow. Norwich, Jack Wilshere. Is it just me who thinks Jack Wilshere would thrive at Norwich? Yeah, I know they just signed Billy Gilmore on loan from Chelsea, who is the Scottish Wilshere, but would Jack not be a decent backup option on the bench? He's only 29 and forced to try him with Como in Serie B. Bring him back to Carroll Road, play him in the cup games in midfield. Yes, I know he was a washed up stay in at Bournemouth, but it was only 3 years ago he's playing 38 games in a single season for Arsenal, starting home and away against the likes of AC Milan, Atletico Madrid, playing against Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, playing in a cup final against Man City. That was just 3 years ago, so don't you tell me that Wilshere can't do a job for Norwich. Southampton, Nicholas Kalou. Yeah, here you've got a Cameroonian ball-playing centre-half, 31-year-old Nicholas Kalou, formerly of Monaco, Marseille, Lyon, and most recently Torino. You're damn right he could do a job in Southampton's defence. Tottenham, Gaston Ramirez. Okay, I can't find one for Tottenham, alright? The Gaston Ramirez is a tricky former Sampdoria winger. Okay, no, I'm sorry, I can't in all good conscience sit here and say that Tottenham need to sign a Southampton flop. I'm pretty sure if this happened, Harry Kane would rip off his own jaw. You tell me, Spurs fans, any freebies take your fancy? Nah, I didn't think so. Watford, Daniel Sturridge. Just give him a chance. Watford are in the business of offering career lifelines to Josh King and Danny Rose, so why not Daniel Sturridge too? Football has just given up on him, but why? 2 years ago, he's winning the Champions League. Are you really going to give up on Sturridge just because he was banned for betting while out in Turkey? He still scored 7 goals in 16 matches. That's not exactly Saido Berahino levels now, is it? He's currently on trial with Real Mallorca in Spain, so go on, Watford, give him a chance. West Ham, Carlos Tevez. Carlos Tevez is a man who said he was going to retire at 28. Yeah, he's at 37 now and still hanging in there. I mean, why not? I'd love to see this guy back in the Premier League. And West Ham fans, stop lying to yourselves, so would you. Seeing him replace Mikel Antonio as an impact sub at 75 minutes every weekend, oh, you'd be drooling all over your lap. Wolves, Hatem Ben Arfa. Hatem Ben Arfa is my favourite footballer of all time. The fact is, he's one of the most gifted dribblers on the face of the earth, and is now being offered deals in Tunisia. To be fair, he only lasted 7 months at Bordeaux, but Tunisia holding talks with the Romanian team? It was only 5 years ago he was signing for PSG before being replaced by Neymar. Wolves, snap him up. He's an insane dribbler. You need to create a spark as an impact sub in the second half of games. I guarantee you, he would win you at least 9 extra points this season. Hatem Ben Arfa is an incredible man. Anyway, that's it. Let me know what do you think? What free agent do you want to sign? Let me know in the comment section below if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.